You will no longer disrespect me.
I am a better mother because of going no contact with mine.
You had a responsibility to provide those bare minimum things. And you think that they owe you for that? That's why your kids don't talk to you.
If you're unfamiliar with what going no contact means, it basically means that like you're literally going no contact and you're not talking to said person. And in regards to mothers, I always thought I was alone dealing with, you know, my own trauma and my own relationship with my mom, which we're getting to later. But what we're gonna find out in this video is that that's not the case. Now, I have made a video in the past talking about parents in general, and that's now at a whopping like 1.5 million views. But like I said before, this video is focusing specifically on mothers, and my next one in the series will focus specifically on fathers. So be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. There are a lot of people who are starting to go no contact with their mom, or even like starting to put up more walls for a variety of reasons, most of which stem from childhood trauma and emotional abuse. Making this video has made me feel better knowing that I'm not alone in this situation, and I can only hope it does the same for you. But if you are someone who has an amazing relationship with your mother, that's good. I only wish the best for you, and I hope that to be the case. But your experience is not the same that everybody has, and your definition of a mother is not what everybody has. Because for most people that I know, especially in my life, going no contact or putting up all these walls or going a little no contact, it's the last resort. It's not, oh, we just disagree politically, or oh, we got in a big fight about this. No, I'm talking about the serious situations where it's just a result of years and years of trauma and abuse. So I have to make that distinction. That's what I'm referring to in this video. And without further ado, let's get right into this.
Days in a few days, and a year ago, I mailed my letter to my mother and went no contact, and I have not spoken to her since. So yay, we're celebrating a year of grief. First lesson is that time actually doesn't always heal. Honestly, I don't know if I ever will be fully healed. I know I will grow and evolve, but as far as fully healing from it, I don't know if that's 100% possible in this lifetime. The pain doesn't go away.
That's valid. It is a weird feeling, almost like you're grieving in real life. Like you're grieving somebody who is alive. It's the weirdest situation because you're grieving this idea of what you thought a mother was supposed to be. Because when you're cutting off somebody or you're setting up these huge walls, they're leaving your life essentially. And it is hard. Despite all the things that y'all have maybe gone through, it's still something you have to grieve and kind of like settle with, like, wow, this person's actually gone. And it is even weirder when you have that same person trying, like you see them trying to be better, you see them wanting to, I guess, foster the relationship, but then you also realize that it's like a bait and switch. I think this will be good for like 1 or 2 months, and then you just go back to how they used to be. That is incredibly frustrating and gaslighting and traumatic, and at some point you do just need to nip it in the bud, and you're gonna grieve that experience. You're gonna grieve that person just kind of gone.
Go into lesson number 2. The grief and anger comes in major waves. We're not gonna get emotional. I am a better mother because of going no contact with mine. Despite all of life's challenges, overall, I am just happier. I feel lighter. The way I felt when I had my mom in my life was an indescribable, sick, icky feeling, and that's how I felt my whole life. So to not feel that anymore, the grief and anger comes in waves, but the relief is everything and more.
The relief is always there. The relief is what's holding you down. And it's like, this is what I yearned for. I lived for, I've always desired this amount of peace, you know, the relaxation, not having to argue every single day or every week or dealing with the negative calls, this and that. The peace is more than worth all the random spouts of grief and anger that will come throughout the years. There are like a good 2 to 3 times where I'm just like completely over it, and I'm like really down in the dumps, or I'm just like extremely pissed off. They do come in waves, but the relaxation that I personally have gotten from this and trying to mend things with my mother, we're working on things, we're not working on things, we're talking, not talking, it's a whole thing. And she may even see this video. I know she watches some of my content. This is an extremely vulnerable thing to be doing, but all I can do is just share my experience and my thought with you guys 110% as I am. And I know this video helps out more people than I have ever thought could imagine when I make my stories about mothers and traumas and things like that.
You aren't wrong for going no contact, and your kids are going to be okay. I spent the last year day in and day out questioning myself for my kids. I was always asking myself, is this worth it? Am I making the right choice for them? Am I being selfish? The answer is no. Because it would have been worse to have my children witness the relationship that me and my mom had and the way that my mom moves. Over time, it would have really affected them. I could not show up and be the best mom to them because I had this demon that was like sucking the life out of me. You feel me? Like I could not show up. I couldn't show up for myself. If you believe that you're making the right choice, you're making the right choice. With all that being said, I could write a novel on all the ways that this has affected me. But I'm going to leave you with this. We do not wake up one day and just decide to go no contact. You feel me? This took everything inside of me. This took 28. This took so much pain, anger, suffering, trauma. I didn't make this decision just off rip. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. Children do not wake up and just decide to completely cut their fucking mom or dad out. They don't do that.
Now, I will say we do see some of them doing that, especially like as the rise of politics, but more younger. Like, I don't talk to my dad. He's a crazy Trumper. We see some of that stuff, but we're not talking about those kind of people. Like, I'm genuinely talking like the more mature crowd, like the people dealing with years of trauma. Like she has said, this shit ain't easy. It's hard. It's still hurtful every week when I'm like talking to her, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I gotta go like do this or do that, and it's just added stress. It just hurts. It's so crazy, especially when you see how other people's parents move. Like, I'm always one to focus on me and only me, and I can always control the controllable, which is going no contact. But when I see how other mothers move, how mothers act, and the way that they mother their children, jealous. And I know, I'm fully aware that my mom did all that she could to provide, but providing and getting a roof over my head is not the end all be all, and that shouldn't be the end all be all if you are a parent. And especially now, I'm even willing to just accept like whatever happened throughout middle school, high school, like whatever. But even as adults, your behavior is still the same, and you're not able to recognize what needs to change, and you just gotta go. And if you're someone going through this situation, you know what's best for you, and like your peace is worth it. Especially if that is an interesting perspective. If you do have children, you have the added layer of like, okay, am I really gonna strip now a grandmother away from my kids? And to a certain point, you have to, because why would you, if you deal with all this trauma and your mother's still the same way, why are you going to have your kids go through that same thing and do the same damn things mentally that they did to you? That's not fair to you or your children. So like this mother, she made the right choice. She did what she had to do. But those are some valid points. The grief and the anger is going to come in waves. It's a hard thing to do. But at the end of the day, you just stand on business and know that if you know the tea, you know what's really up and how that relationship was throughout your life, and if you are making a good decision.
One type of person who you cannot play in their face is the person who is actively healing and working through their mother wound.
Yup. You cannot. If you don't know what that term means, like playing in your face, that means like you're playing games, like someone's trying to connive you, someone's trying to dupe you, someone's like not being respectful in front of your face. And that's something that people can't do to someone who is going through cutting off their mother. If you're trying, I'm gonna let her go, because she probably gonna snap.
You get to a point where you have enough balls to stand up to your mother, the person that you were conditioned to seek love and approval and validation from. You unlock a whole new level of power.
Nasty, a whole new level of power. Like the amount of respect that I have for myself, not only because of all the, self-deleting that I tried to do and I fought through that, but now adding in a layer of going through all these things with my mother and going, basically no contact. You can't mess with me. You can't. You cannot mess with me. Because I know what my peace is worth. I know what I've gone through in life, and what you're not about to do is sit here and play in front of Amir's face, because that's when you meet Jamal. And Jamal will come out and scorch you to earth. Ooh, go scorch earth on that ass. Quite truthfully. Do not play with me.
Now, this video is not for the people who have loving mothers. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm speaking specifically to the people who have narcissistic, toxic mothers that they had to either limit contact or go no contact with. Now, if this is you, when you get to that point where you can look your mother in the eye and say that you will no longer disrespect me, that becomes the last time that anybody can disrespect you.
Yep.
I don't hear enough people talk about this, but there is a very, very big shift that happens in your life when you get the balls to stand up to your mother. All your relationships begin to change because you realize that people only benefited from you when you had no boundaries, when you were a people pleaser. That's when they were the most comfortable around you. When you were still shrinking yourself, when you were scared to speak up, when you were scared of losing people. But when you get to that point of decentering your mother and her opinions and seeking validation from her, everything changes. It's up for anybody after that.
Truly. It changes everything. As soon as you're able to stand up to her and you're able to place boundaries in place, you are able to just go no contact completely. And at that point, if you're doing that to your mother and you're able to gain the courage to do that and stand in that, even a little contact, and still deal with them and talk to them, but with boundaries, you start to look at everybody different. You start to look at everything around you different, but for the better. Usually for the better. You used to be like, okay, well, does this person treat me how I want to be treated? Do we have good conversations? When we conversate, do we actually sit down and talk? You really just start to analyze who is in your life and how you're being treated, because you respect it even more.
Can't get away with the little slick comments anymore. People can no longer get away with the little shady things that they used to do. And then everybody starts falling off because you begin to realize that almost all of the relationships in your life mimicked the relationship between you and your mother. When you stop chasing your mother's love, you stop chasing emotionally unavailable people. It happens across the board. And it really hits different when you realize you're not starving for love anymore. You're not looking for people to fill a void that your mother created. You filled it. And now your energy says, I'm good either way. That's why a person who is actively healing their mother wound is very powerful, because you cannot manipulate them. You cannot guilt trip them. And you damn sure can't disrespect them and think you're still going to have access to them.
Not happening. Listen, you're not about to disrespect me. I'll give you a good friend and you disrespect me and you mean to, we can talk about it, but you're not going to disrespect me and play in my face. Neither are you going to be someone in my life that's emotionally unavailable. At this point in time, I need friends, I need people, I need the people around me to be emotionally available and mature, to have conversations, to talk, for it to be a bond, not just a one-way street. I can't do the one-way street anymore. Just can't. No one should be doing that. This extends past going no contact with your mothers, but just like those one-way relationships, you deserve more than that. Your worth is more, and your voice is more. This life is more. You get one life, and it's how you're living right now. Is that the life you want to live? Whether it be toxic people around you, toxic parents, toxic friends, or toxic relationships, it's just this way, or it's still my mother. No. Control the controllable. I'm not saying that you're perfect. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I never mess up and that I'm this like perfect son. No, I have my faults, but I own them and I work on them at all times. And not everybody is that way.
One thing you will never hear come out of my mouth is, wow, your parents did such a great job raising you. Ever! Nothing triggers me more, because my mom just beat the out of me all the time. Yes, I do have good memories.
Especially now, because of the man that I've become, how public facing I am, and people see the YouTube channel or Instagram or whatever, and they be like, oh my gosh, you're so successful, you're doing this, you're doing that, like your parents did a great job. I get that nonstop, and I just sit there and I'm just like, yeah, because it takes too much context, takes too much, like, I'm not trying to kill the vibe. I'm not trying to just be like, no, actually, like, they're being nice. It's a sweet comment. I would never say that to anybody. No, I don't know. I just never had that great of parents to actually sit up for somebody else's face and say, wow, your parents did a great job. No, you don't know that. You really don't. And it is triggering. I ignore it. I just say thank you and I go on, because the person is giving me a compliment. I'm not going to knock them for giving me a compliment. However, internally in my head, I get so frustrated, because it's like, I am the product of not just me, but everyone around me. And it took the countless podcasts, the countless books, the countless artists and songs, the countless movies, the countless TV shows to push me and mold who Amir is today, that fought through and decoded and helped me analyze all the crazy shit that my parents did do. The best thing, the best gift that I have, and why I'm not like too emotionally damaged by all the childhood trauma that I have, whether it be like my father just abandoning us, or my mother and her like the narcissistic ways and the way she like treat me and talk to me and all the abuse. It's just like, they gave me the wonderful gift of what not to be. They gave me the gift of understanding, okay, don't do this, don't do that, treat people like this, treat people like that. And they gave it to me early on, and it's helped me navigate life in a way that I always respect and honor those around me that I truly, truly care about, and make sure that they feel the special and love that they deserve.
But who I am today, this version of me had nothing to do with my mother, that's for sure. Wow, your parents did such a good job. They abandoned me. They abandoned me. I haven't talked to my parents in a couple of years. They don't, everything good that I have in my life, all of the good that I have in my life is because of me. I left them.
It's not just because of them. I'm grateful for how hard my mother worked to survive. Hello, forever grateful for that. I'm grateful for the bare bones of all the living, but I'm not grateful for like the raising part. Like there's so many other people in my life that have raised me, and all the work that I had to do to go through that. If I did sit here and completely relied specifically on those two to actually raise me, I would be a completely different man today. Completely different man. And I'm thankful that I'm not that way. My boundaries, both mentally and physically, deserve and need to be respected. Not just mine, but yours too. Because something that does scare people when going no contact or setting up these walls is the fact that, you know, we're talking about your parent, like your mom, your dad, whatever, maybe you're talking about someone who literally birthed you, someone that knows your social security number, may still have it or copy your birth certificate, someone that knows where you live or is trying to find out where you live. Because some, not all, but some can use this information against you. If you want to prevent your toxic mother from finding out where you live, and not just that, but her or any parent you've gone on contact with from stealing your identity, hell, even anyone at that point, then I think it's a great option for you to take a look into today's sponsor, Aura. If I'm being so for real, Aura gives me so much sanity and clarity when it comes to my birth father, of which be sure to subscribe. Again, I'll have a separate video focusing specifically on fathers, but Aura gives me so much peace knowing he's not just out there stealing my identity. Because I'm not going to get into details, but do know that Aura gets used, okay? It's genuinely concerning how easy it is for someone to get your information and how much of it is out there online. It's being bought and sold nonstop by all these crazy data brokers. People out here getting doxxed, the spam calls, them annoying ass USPS text messages in the UPS box. Over it. With Aura, AURA, this all comes to an end. It's a service that protects all of your information and does the work of a lot of different apps just in one. Some people like apps that are dedicated to like one set thing, and others like a more all-of-one inclusive package, and that's what Aura is, and they will always have your back for that. They do the reaching out and telling data brokers to remove your information because by law they have to, but they make it incredibly hard for you to access all the information to request your information to be taken down, so you can just let Aura handle that for you. But again, they have the spam call protection, identity theft protection, financial fraud protection, password manager, VPN, literally so much from just one app that is nationally recognized and respected. So again, you can either just have nothing and be at risk, and whether that be not just your own toxic parents or anyone of that matter to have access to all these data brokers and use your information against you, or you can go to aura.com, aura.com/Amir to start your 2-week free trial by tapping the link below or scanning the QR code here on the screen.
Estranged parents on the internet have some audacity, and they're just... I said what I said. You can come for me, estranged parents, if you want. I'm an estranged daughter. And I just saw a video that violently triggered me, and I'm feeling all the feelings. But I just have to say, you always give yourselves away in these videos where you're about your kids. Always.
I have a whole video dedicated to the perspective of the parent being cut off, and the one, like the parent that the kids have gotten no contact to. I have a full link to all these kinds of videos below, but no, this is spot on because they really did just be revealing themselves. Like, okay, look in the mirror, ma'am. Like, this is why your child left.
Every time, without fail or exception, you give yourselves away. We can all clearly see, oh, that's why right there. You said the reason. That's it. That's why your kids don't talk to you. In case you were confused or wondering or were lost about, that's right there what you just said. That's why your kids don't talk to you, or at least in part, that's why right there. Because the way you're framing the situation with your children is what the problem is. See, I just watched this video of this crazy lady complaining about how it's an epidemic that children are choosing to cut off their parents, and it's really because they're avoidant. They're running away from hard conversations with their families, and they're not doing the work necessary to salvage the relationships. And then she said, I gave you financial support. I gave you food. I gave you shelter. I put my life on the back burner to raise you. Gave yourself away, didn't you? Gave yourself away right there. You put your life on the back burner? Oh, so that means that you think your children owe you something for you raising them and giving them the bare minimum.
I didn't ask to be raised. I didn't ask to be here. You can do all the bare minimum you want. You can provide for me. You can give me a roof over my head and food, yada, yada. But we need more than that. A child needs more than that. And the damage that is done to the plethora of kids out there raised by, not really raised by parents, but just like provided for by parents, I guess you can say. It's largely, it is out there, and it is something that, ooh, it's so interesting that hearing that all the time of like, well, I put my life on the back burner for you. And it's like, well, I didn't ask to be here. This is the consequence of your decisions, ma'am, having a child. What are we going to do here? Because now I'm here and I'm a human. I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected or play to my face.
You think your children should be grateful that you gave them what they deserved, which was food and shelter and financial support, because they started out as infants and then became toddlers and then became kids and then became teenagers and then they became adults. And in that time frame before they became adults, you had a responsibility to provide those bare minimum things. And you think that they owe you for that? That's why your kids don't talk to you. Because they don't know you shit. We don't know you shit. Kids don't owe their parents anything. I have 3 kids. They don't owe me shit. I chose to have children, and I chose to be responsible for them. And I understood. I knowingly went into that contract with my children, knowing that at bare minimum, I would have to provide them for shelter.
At bare minimum.
Food, financial support, and ultimately emotional support as well, because I'm a good parent. You weren't a good parent, so you didn't provide that part, that last part there. Well, that's neither here nor there, but you didn't do that. So now we're here, and you're blaming your children for deciding not to be a part of your life and saying the quiet part out loud on the internet and giving yourself away.
Yeah. You didn't provide any emotional support. You provided what was needed. You provided to live and to survive. And I understand throughout, a certain parent's life, there's been consequences and things that have been super hard and whatever it may be. But at the bare minimum, you can still offer support and love and encouragement and emotional. You can just provide more emotional support. But these parents have been just going online, well, I put my life on the back burner, or like, well, I raised you, you have food, you were alive. Thanks? Question mark? That's the bare minimum. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, I have tons of tips on how to heal from having a narcissistic mother. I've been no contact with my mom for about 15 plus years now, so I've been on this journey for a long time, and there are some things that I can recommend. Number 1, go to therapy. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. This journey across the last 15 years without my mother and navigating what my life looks like post-abuse, I would not have been able to do it without the several therapists that I've had along the way.
I feel like therapists can really jumpstart people into, that's their job, Amir. To jumpstart them to like mental clarity and health by giving you different ways to navigate your feelings, reading different books, giving you just various tactics on how to process the emotions and the feelings that you have can be very powerful. For me, it was a lot of books, it was a lot of podcasts, it was a lot of this, kind of working through and hearing other people's perspectives. I'm just thankful. I'm very thankful. I love what I do for a living. Highlighting and really going through and sifting through a bunch of different perspectives and getting various viewpoints and kind of taking the nuggets from each and applying it to myself where I see fit has helped tenfold.
Narcissistic abusive dynamics with people need specific types of therapy like EMDR, or more intense types like therapy for PTSD, things like that. One of the biggest things that I've done for myself following the abuse that I experienced was learning how to regulate my nervous system. And those are skills that I learned through therapy. The second thing is to read this book, Will I Ever Be Good Enough? Healing the Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers by Carol McBride. I had a therapist years ago recommend this book to me, and I finally got around to reading it a year and a half or 2 years ago. And it just changed so
Haven't read it yet, but I did just order it.
many things about the way that I understood having a narcissistic mother. There were definitely times that I read this book and started sobbing because it gave me so much introspection and things to think about. But at the same time, this book gave me hope that because I could identify these things, they were things that I could heal within myself. Third thing is to surround yourself with people that like and love you, which I know sounds hard because if you're in a narcissistic abuse relationship or have been, you're so used to receiving negative feedback and potentially even unable to receive healthy love and support from others. But that is a huge thing. If you go back far enough on my page, you can find posts that I make about my best friend who genuinely changed my life because she reflected onto me what healthy love and being in healthy relationship is.
Yes, it's hard to, like she just said, because oftentimes when you're dealing with parents like that, you end up surrounding yourself with people who are not even there for you. What you really should be doing is surrounding yourself with people who actually do love you for who you are, pour into you, motivate you, inspire you, and bring out the best in you. And the only way you're going to find that is by but the only way you're going to really find that is by having different friends and hanging out with them and learning how they actually are, and the person, and how you feel around them, how you feel leaving interactions with them. Do you feel more filled? Do you feel more happy and love when you're around these certain people? Because it has shocked me, even at the age of 29, it has shocked me when I come across certain people and I'm like, holy, like what? This is what a friend is supposed to be? This is what love is? That's what a mom does? This is a grandparent? Like, it blows my mind, and it gives me, a different perspective to really sit with and understand, like, maybe I do deserve better for myself. Maybe the way I should be treated and how I want to be treated should take higher priority in my life. And I should stop being a people pleaser all the time. I should stop dealing with this emotional abuse. I should stop being a pushover. I should stop being someone that just craves any ounce of almost confusing stability with toxicity. I guess so what I mean by that is, like, my whole life I've had to deal with like narcissistic shit. So then I surround myself with narcissistic shit because that's what's normal to me. And that's what's viewed, that's what I've dealt with. So I'm like, old me would be placing myself in scenarios and situations that I did not like because I was comfortable being uncomfortable. I was so used to just having insane bonds, so to say, and toxic bonds, that I damn near mirrored that and reflected that in my life with the old friends that I used to have, or people that I would try to hang out with, and it never worked out. But it never worked out because I didn't like it, because it was toxic. But my old self would like want to put myself in toxic situations just because I was so used to it. And that's what being stable was, because it was the same, when that's very toxic and can be very toxic. If you out there, you get what I'm saying. Let me know in the comments below. It's a very niche thing and a niche feeling to have, but I'm glad that there are different books and recognizing different people and what love is and how you deserve to be treated. Like, looking at all these things, you're able to kind of work through it and realize, like, oh shit, I do deserve more respect for myself, and to put my emotional awareness and emotional intelligence at the forefront. Very powerful when it comes to healing tips, because like the first video we reacted to, there's a lot that goes into, not even a lot that goes into it, but the anger and the grief is a huge part of it, and processing that is a battle. And for me, if I had to give any tips, I would say to just be mindful of why you did what you did, why you've gone no contact or little contact or whatever it may be, and to relish in the peace that you have without that in your life constantly, and have that be a guiding force. Like, okay, this is why I did what I did. I wanted this peace, and I did not want to deal with that toxicity. But then also understanding that, as humans, everybody's different, and everybody's dealt different cards in life, and all you can do is control the controllable and move forward. No one out there has a perfect life or a perfect family, because even then, if I think about the people in my life that have like a mom I would have loved to have, or a father I would love to have, there's another area in their life that is completely lacking and super toxic. So no matter however you split it up and dice it, you still could have been dealt cards that are bad. So in my head, understanding that everyone is given all the good and all the bad, it's just what you do with that. And yeah, some people's good is growing up wealthy, but that person's bad could be an emotionally unavailable mother and father, because the father's always gone working, comes home and gets drunk, and the mom's a stay-at-home wife that's just addicted to Ambien and shopping and never around. And then you just got the nanny out there with the parents, and boom, there's another set of problems because money doesn't solve everything. There's lots of different perspectives to everything in life. So understanding that, it makes it easier for me to put my blinders on, like I said at the end of every video, and just focus on me and only me to move forward and control the controllable. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can ever do.
If you're no contact with your mom this Mother's Day and you're struggling, it's okay. And if you don't know me, I'm Catherine, and I help women heal from their toxic moms. Big holidays can be difficult, especially when everyone's talking about how amazing and wonderful their mom is, when you didn't have that same experience with your mom.
Literally what I was just talking about as far far as there's waves throughout the year and throughout life as far as like anger and grief and all that. This is definitely one of those holidays. Super weird growing up. Father's Day was the weirdest one, honestly, because the man was just gone. But the older I got, the weirder Mother's Day became.
It can be sad and you feel the loss of what you wanted or should have had. There are ways to work through it. This is some of what I share in the Toxic Mom Recovery Guide. Number 1 is acknowledge what you are feeling. Trying to ignore it or shove it down is not going to help. It's just going to make it worse. So acknowledge, what am I feeling right now? What's that specific emotion? Number 2 is, where do you notice it in your body? A great way to start shifting that emotion or that energy is to imagine it as a color. So if that emotion was a color in your body, where would it be and what does it look like? And then imagine gathering all of that color, all that emotion from your body, pulling it out and sending it away from you.
Okay, see, I don't know how to do that. I can acknowledge just where my emotions are in that moment. Like right now, I feel myself getting a little bit more emotional, a little more like teary-eyed almost. I just feel it as I'm like watching this video. I'm blinking because I just mentioned Mother's Day and how it's becoming increasingly more hard the older I've gotten because of the grief aspect. On one end, seeing what a mother is for a lot of different people and the connections that I've made with various supporters out there and various my IG mamas, my Instagram mamas, it's just mind-blowing to me. But then also acknowledging to myself like, yeah, Mother's Day actually is a really hard holiday, and it's just weird because the woman's alive. I still will call her, she'll call me, and we'll have to call her. But it's so weird. It really is. And no one wishes it for it to be this way. Like, I'm talking about the very serious people, the very serious adult, Gen Z or millennial that has gone no contact. It's the last resort. Like, why would you not want to talk to your mom? Why would you not want to have that bond? Why would you not want to have or to share that experience? Of course you want that. Of course a lot of people want that. And there's just people that can't, because there's a lot of mothers out there that just don't know how to mother. And yet they're still had children, and it just is what it is. But I would just always acknowledge what you're feeling in the moment and where it came from. Right now, I'm feeling it because I just talked about Mother's Day and it's coming up. Ooh, up to bam. And that's where I'm feeling it. And I'm just processing it and understanding on camera, like, what is going through my head and why. So that's one.
For yourself, what is something kind and loving that you can do for yourself that will bring healing to your heart? Number 4, reach out to other mothering.
She skipped over that too fast. Okay, that number 3, do things that will be your own mother almost. Do things that will heal you. I will still always do a comfort meal. As bad as it is, I still will go out there and get Popeyes at least once a month because of what, it's so stereotypical because obviously I'm black, but hello, it's just really good chicken and it's like reminds me of my childhood. I would do that, or going on, like, I would just do things that, I don't know, that just bring me back to my roots or just make me very happy. I don't know how else to put it, but do things that'll please your inner child. Do things that will just make you happy will go a long way.
Figures in your life and honor them on this day. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on those people who are there for you and honor them. Yeah,
totally. I do it every Mother's Day. I will always forever honor and cherish my adopted mamas, all my mamas out there that have taken me in and helped, who I have become and given chips to, and I'm all flustered now. Every Mother's Day, I will always give time instead of no, or go out to dinner, whatever it may be, with those in my life who have taken on this like motherly type role, and the women that I do look up to the most, because I'm very grateful for what they have provided me and what they've always have done for me and what they've given me, because they've understood and known what I just didn't have, and I'll always be thankful for that. That's what we've gotten for today's video. When it comes to, people who have cut off their mothers specifically, it's not an easy thing to do. It's really not. And a lot of people out here, at least for the people that I'm referring to, aren't doing it for fun or for shits and giggles. It's actually something that is traumatic and has taken a lot of courage to actually do. And if you are someone that's in these shoes, just do know you are by no means alone. And I hope that this video helped you find out new creative ways to heal from this, to process this, to help explain it, or hell, even the opposite way, to help you, talk to your mother a different way, or hell, even a way to kind of fix the relationship with your mother, I guess, if that's something you're wanting to do. And if you do, I hope it does work out in your favor. For a lot of people, it doesn't, and it's sad. I'm all for you trying. I'm all for you wishing the best for your parents when in regards to going no contact with them. But for a lot of people, they spend their entire life trying to fix something that they know, not that they know won't change, but they're just hoping every single time that it will change for the better, that it will be different, that you will get this person, this dream parent that you always thought you're going to have. And I refuse personally to live that life. To live life that's always in hope. We're both adults at this point. So control is controllable. If that's how you want to act, if that's how you want to do and want to be, more power to you, but I'm not going to have that in my life. So there are other people who feel the same way. I hope that if you do have a relationship with your mother, that this puts into perspective that there's a lot of people that don't, and that there's a lot of trauma that people are actively going through and having to work through every single day of their lives. Quite frankly, the next video of this series will be focusing specifically on fathers, which that'll be interesting for me. For one end, talking about why I don't have a father, besides the fact that I'm Black and that's just a given, but what that was like for me and my experience not having one, and then hearing from other people who have, grew up with one that is toxic. Because one thing I am thankful for is that he wasn't around to constantly be another toxic source in my life. I'm glad that he was just gone and in his own abyss doing what he needed to do, and it kept that away from me. I am thankful for that. So if you're excited for that video, you want another perspective on another kind of parent, be sure to subscribe. I am more than thankful for the support. I'm more than thankful for the support on the last video in general, talking about going no contact with your parents. 1.5 million views is crazy work, but even 50,000 views, 100,000 views, not even just that, but the one comment I get that this has ultimately changed your life. The one comment that I get, that I shared this with my friend that's going through something, whoever this video speaks to, whether it was sent to you or popped up on your page, I'm just thankful that you've taken the time, your time, to watch this video with me. So I'm very thankful for that. I truly am. And like I said at the end of every video, and I've said throughout this video specifically, make sure that you're controlling the controllable. Focus on you and only you, and you will achieve anything you put your mind to. Truly, one of the biggest and top limiting forces on your life ultimately is you. So what can you do to make sure that you're on a path forward? Focus on that, and you can and will get there. So with that being said, I will see you, as always, in the next video. Deuces.